All right, hi everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the webinar, How to Build a Brand from Scratch on Social Media. This is hosted by Viral Tag with Shoot, the app. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jilly Bedanes. I'm the head of marketing here at Viral Tag. And Viral Tag is a social media marketing platform focusing on visual content. So we're helping small businesses, startups, bloggers discover and create really quality visual content and then schedule it out in the future on social media. You can find me at my email address, jilly@viraltag.com, or on Twitter. That's my handle right there. So feel free to reach out at all during the webinar or in the future, and definitely chime in on social media as well. This is our hashtag for the webinar, is just viral tag webinar. Feel free to ask any questions there on social media, where we're going to be checking that during the next hour as well. And if at any point during the webinar you can't see the screen or you can't hear me, any technical issues, definitely let us know. You can just pop that in the chat box or the question box during the webinar. We're going to be packing a lot of information in, so definitely want to make sure that you can hear us during everything. So yeah, let us know if any questions come up while we're chatting. I'm going to be handing it over shortly to Tara McNulty, who's the founder of Shoot. Really, really excited to have her here today talking about her experience on social media and how she has been building up her brand and getting first-time users using social media. She's got some really, really cool tips and insights to share, and her app is really awesome. You guys should all check it out, but I'll be passing it over shortly to her too. Just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we'll be talking about, we're first going to talk about kind of the unique startup challenge on social media, and then talk a little bit about visual content and how you can create your own strategy around visual content and social media. Then Tara is going to be talking a lot about her challenge, kind of her approach, and what impact it had for her business. And then I'm going to share some quick 5 steps that you can do to get started on social media right now. And then we'll leave time for questions at the end. So should be definitely within the hour, and we'll probably have about 15-20 minutes for questions. But feel free to pop in any questions as they come up in the question box, and we can save those for the question period. So startups, it's a unique challenge on social media. So here you are, you've got this amazing idea, you've figured out your market, you've probably built something really cool, disruptive, some great tech, but how do you actually get people to try it out, to buy your product or download your app? How do you get known? There's a good chance you probably don't have a lot of money to spend on some big, like, Super Bowl ads or, high spend marketing. You probably don't really have a lot of help. You're probably like a lot of us. You're a one-person shop, or maybe a couple people on your team, but you're wearing a lot of hats, and you might not have a lot of time to devote to building up a really consistent, like, vocal strategy. And maybe you're a new product, you're maybe coming into a new market, and you really need to educate the consumer. So there's a lot to do, and you're limited on your resources. So you want to expose people to a new problem. You want to convince them to check you out and potentially change their behavior. How do you do it? Oh, it's so easy, just social media, right? That's your solution. All you have to do is just get on social media and just send a message. Be like, hey, we're here. We've got a lot of interesting things to tell you. If only it was that easy. Of course, the problem is there's a ton of people talking about a lot of different things, and no one really cares, about your little tweet. People aren't all waiting for you to speak. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to get in between to get people's attention. So the big thing is that you don't want to interrupt the conversation. You don't want to just bombard people with promotions. The key really is to figure out the right way to engage, to be able to tell your own story, and then to get the attention of other people and inspire new behavior. So, how do you do that? Well, the first thing you want to do is figure out what is your objective on social media. We're assuming a lot of you, most of you probably are just starting out. Maybe you're looking to build your first time customers, or maybe you don't even have a product yet, or you haven't launched and you're just trying to raise some more awareness about your idea or the problem. Um, Maybe you want something specific to happen. Do you want people to come to your website? Do you want them to download your app? Spend some time now thinking about what you are really trying to achieve and what that focus is going to be for your social media strategy, because that will help you focus your efforts on getting that actual outcome. It'll also help you determine what metrics to pay attention to, because this is how you're going to measure whether your efforts are really helping you get to where you want to go. So if you're interested in building awareness, for example, then you're going to probably pay more attention to engagement metrics like followers, shares, retweets, repins. Or if you're really more interested in getting a specific action like websites visits or app downloads, you can pay attention to those metrics, of course, but then also clicks and how people are going to your website from specific things on social media. Knowing the answers to all these questions will also help you decide who you want to speak to. So define your audience. This is probably something you've done, you've done already as you're building your product, building your company. You know who your audience is, who your target user is, but maybe there's someone specific on social media that you want to try and reach. Maybe it's an influencer in that space who's going to be an early adopter and then is going to use their voice to evangelize your product. So think about who those people are specifically and how you can use social media to get their attention. And you can do this by studying their behavior on social media. What are they sharing? What conversations are they already having? Who are they following? What's their behavior? So think about this, study this. We have some really good tips on our blog about specific tools that you can use. I don't have time to go into all of those, but there are a lot of great tools that you can use to monitor conversations and get really deep into that listening on social media. And then the best way, once you know what you're trying to achieve, how you're going to do it, and who you're trying to reach, the best way is really to bake visual content into every part of your strategy. We really believe in the power of visual content. It's why we designed our entire platform around helping people find and share better visual content. And that's because visual content leads to much more engagement, more clicks and traffic, and ultimately more sales of your product or the end outcome that you're trying to achieve. A piece of content with a visual receives 94% more clicks than a piece of content that isn't visual. So you're going to just get a lot more engagement if you add a piece of visual. And it's also a better way to create a lasting connection with your audience, because people remember 80% of what they see. Most people are visual learners, so creating that visual connection is going to be really important. And compared to like, people remember 20% of what they read and 10% of what they hear. So there's a big difference here. What do we mean when we say visual content? You have a lot of options here. Of course, the most obvious one is photos. So people, it's very, very easy these days to create great photos. You can take them from your phone. You can edit them using a lot of simple free apps that are available to all of us. And there's a lot of different things that you can take photos of. Of course, you can just do things of your day, things you see, and behind the scenes stuff of your office, your team, kind of insight into your operations are all really, really awesome things to take photos of. You can also find some really great stock images. There's some great sources of stock imagery these days that don't look like stock imagery. You can get sceneries or things that can be relevant to the content that you're sharing. Another great visual is infographic. So this is just a way of illustrating a piece of data or an idea, and they can be really complicated. packing in a lot of information and like really really lovely designs, or you can do something really simple, just sharing one stat or one piece of data. Again, there's some really awesome cheap and free tools online that you can use to create these designs, especially for those of us who aren't trained designers. There's still a lot available to you. Again, we have those listed on our blog. And then there's these simple like quote graphics or memes. These are really easy for anyone to create. It's just a quote or some text on a relevant photo or a pattern background. There are also a lot of sites where you can create these fun memes, just making them related to your business. That's the main thing. So really there's so many ways and options available to all of us for visual content. So there's no reason that we shouldn't be adding a piece of visual to everything that we do. And with that, I think that's one thing that's been really successful for Tara, and she's going to tell us all about how she decided to approach social media and what impact it has had for her business. So I'm going to pass it over to Tara.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Julie. I'm really excited to be here. And thanks everyone for joining online. I know you're busy, so I have a lot to say, but I'm going to try to keep it short and to the point. So my name is Tara, and just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I actually started in software development many, many years ago, but it turned out I was actually better and happier working with clients, so I moved in sort of a project management, product management role. So within that, um, a lot of my job was working with people and also, developing new clients, and thus I was always talking to people. And one of the challenges that I've noticed, and something that's changed since I graduated from school and started working, is that the impact of digital on how we communicate with each other has really played an important part of business and how we do business. So one of the interesting things is that when you meet someone today, whether it's for work or play, you don't necessarily exchange a business card or do anything formal. You say, find me on LinkedIn. Are you on Facebook? I'll find you later. So we have so many different ways to connect, but I felt like we were connecting less because how we do it became so much more passive in a way. So there's so much going on. There's so many feeds. You got to keep up with all the Facebook updates that we're actually not really paying attention to all those things, and we're losing opportunities to really connect with the people we meet and to make something of our relationships. So I thought about this for many years, and because I was, primarily thinking of this as a business focused app, which is the app I'll tell you about in a minute, I really wanted to figure out a way to make something that could help me meet when I meet people, share my contact information in a way that was more active, so I could give it to them immediately and didn't require any sort of friending or social networking in the way that they were most familiar. And the whole point was really because I wanted to tell them about my business, or I wanted to learn more about them. So really, the intention was to help people with small businesses or people trying to promote themselves when they meet other people on the street, on the subway, anywhere really. So basically, a funny story I have is I saw Richard Branson speak once, the CEO of Virgin, and after his talk, he went out and met everyone in the audience, and everyone gave him a business card. And at the time, I actually smoked, so I'd left immediately to go at the back door and have a cigarette. And then as I was doing that, he came out the door. He reached into his pocket, grabbed the stack of business cards, which he had just accepted from everyone, and threw them in the garbage. He then said, "Cheerio now," and got into the car that was waiting for him. So this always stuck in my mind for some reason, that he did this right in front of me, and that he didn't really do anything with those cards anymore once he had them. And this is kind of how I felt as well. When I get a card from someone, it's great. I have the information, but I end up hanging on to it, and then I don't know what to do with it. So enter shoot. Hold on. So this is the app I developed over the last few months, and it recently got into the store on Android and iOS. And basically what it does, it helps you organize your contact information in a very simple way so that you can create additional profiles using the information you've already added, and you can share them with anyone really quickly. So if you download it from the store, you can check it out. It's free to download. There is an upgrade for 99 cents if you want to create additional profiles. But the point is, it's a really simple app that anyone can use, whether you're a business person, a freelancer, a writer. If you need to promote yourself in any way, it's something for you. So in the context of this presentation, I think it's interesting because it's actually an evergreen product that can be used by anyone, regardless of industry you're in. So if you ever want to check it out, there's the URL there, and you can find it by searching Shoot Contact Sharing on the Play Store or the Apple Store. So once I had this idea for an app, I built it, worked on it for a long time. The question of how do you promote it always comes up. So as someone who's doing this on my own without a significant budget, really the ideas of, wow, now I have this great thing, how do I share it with people, comes up. And there's so many different types of social networks out there that you can really get lost just in a few of them, let alone all of them. So I really had to plan on focusing my time and really deciding on what the best approach was for my business. So I came up with a few goals, and these will be different depending on what your goals are, but I think a lot of them will apply to everyone. So the first one was finding new customers, which I think applies to any business. The second one was how do I engage with my existing customers and develop customers that will talk about me and promote me, and basically share what I've done with their friends. The third thing I wanted to do was get insight into how my customers are using the app, as well as the problems they have, and also what type of things they might want to see the app do in the future. So, for example, new features, new things that I might not have come up with that they have because of how they're using it for their own life. And then the last thing is I wanted to really know who my competition was. So not just maybe apps that do a very similar thing to what I'm doing, but what does the larger marketplace look like for apps that help people with communication, with sharing their information, digital business cards. It wasn't just about direct competitors. It was really about where is this going and how can I get ahead of what maybe my competition is doing or be more appealing to more people. And this was social media was a great opportunity to do this. So the other considerations, of course, are not just cost, but also time and also the scope of what you're able to do as one person trying to promote your product. So with these three things, which in the project management world we call the triple constraint, the biggest problem and biggest concern of mine was making sure that quality was high. So not just quality of the app I was producing, but the quality of the content I was putting out on social media and the quality of things I was saying. You've probably seen lots of random tweets, random content, things that don't really make sense. And it's a lot of noise, but really the things that are relevant to you are few and far between. So while you can't, hit everyone and make everyone happy, if you can focus on quality and doing fewer things that are good, I really wanted to make sure that this was sort of top of mind for me because I'd rather do less and get more than do more and get less. So I really had to narrow it down to a few networks where I felt like I could get the most exposure to the most people and really focus my resources across areas where I felt like I could gain the most traction. So the first one was Facebook. So I think everyone online is probably on Facebook in some capacity. I think I know one person who isn't on Facebook. So it just seemed like a natural place to start. It almost functions like a home page where you can have you basically start your brand, and it's really a place where you can actually engage with your customers. So people send you messages, people can post on your wall, but I've really noticed that people send direct messages, they want to know more, and it's a place where you can respond to them almost in real time and really develop conversations with them. So it's about posting, but it's also about being available to your customers and then understanding that, hey, there's someone actually who lives behind this, and I can get to know more about you and then how I can use your app. So I found that this was really effective. And also you can also set it up to actually link directly to your app or your website. So there's a lot of fun features behind there that are actually free that you can use. The second one I chose was Twitter. Twitter, I always thought before was a very sort of informal, sort of, it's hard for to say something in such, 140 characters. But what I found is that it's really an effective way to learn how to develop your brand. When I first released the app, I thought, oh, this is what my app is. These are my target people, and this is sort of my voice. But as I started to get onto social media and think about what types of things I was going to say, the nature of my brand, quote unquote, evolved. And it wasn't just about the people who I thought I was speaking to before. It really evolved over time. And I think with Twitter, since you can post, more things than just, one image or one thing that people are really going to remember, it really gave me a great opportunity to practice sort of developing my voice and being able to communicate to people in a way that I thought my brand should. So it's still changing day to day, but I feel like it's a great way to, really learn how to craft short and pithy statements. Look for content that people are going to want to read, as well as create, tweets that people want to share and favorite. And the last network that I showed three in total, was Instagram. And Instagram is definitely not a business focused type of social network. It's definitely more leisure. People who want to, it's very lifestyle oriented. But I chose it because I think the visual aspects of social media are so important, like Jilly was saying earlier. And I felt that this was a way to reach people who weren't necessarily in business, but maybe they are in business, but they are focused in a more sort of leisure and beautiful scenes, fashion, food. There's lots of industries now that are very visually focused and use Instagram as really primarily a business channel. So I wanted to include that in what I'm doing, and basically with Viral Tag, it's now that Viral Tag supports Instagram, it's become a super great thing for me for reasons I'll get into a bit later. But if you can see, I don't know if you've had time to look at any of my channels on social, but for Instagram, I'm really trying to use, I guess, the sort of more personal aspects of the brand. I have this icon, which is basically our logo. It's a little blue ball with a face, and it's kind of approachable. It's cute. I actually have a physical blue ball, which I take around with me everywhere, and I use this opportunity to take photos of it. And if you can see on the slides, anywhere I go, if I take a cooking class, I'll bring it with me. I also have sketches done up by an artist to include the icon. And also on the very right, you'll see I often include other brands when I do an Instagram photo. So here, Sonos, I have a Sonos speaker at home, and I actually took this photo and I tagged Sonos. And I actually didn't intend to do this, but Sonos actually favored it, and then it got out to more people. So by including other brands with my brand, I naturally sort of created this affiliation, which I thought, wow, it's free, but it's a way to get out there. So I want to talk a bit about Viral Tag and how Viral Tag has really helped me develop my brand. There's a lot of cool features, but I just want to tell you about some of them because I think for someone who's really busy and doesn't have a lot of time, these things have really been a lifesaver. So one of my favorite, I guess, cartoonists is this woman, Liz Climo, and she's actually a cartoonist for The Simpsons, but she does a lot on the side, and this is her blog. So it was Shark Week very recently, and I thought this shark cartoon was really cute. So if you hover, when you're online and you're just looking around, if you just hover your mouse over the image, you'll actually see this little button that appears called Schedule. And what this does, it actually enables you to click on it. And then when you do that, it actually pulls the image directly from where you are so you can create a posting out of it. So if some of you might be already Viral Tag users and are familiar with this screen, but this is the posting screen. So this is where you would compile or compose a tweet or a Facebook post or an Instagram post, and you would write in your text. You can create a link optionally, and at the top you can basically select the channels that you want to post it to. So I have Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter here selected. So what I did is basically just selected the image right off the website, compiled the tweet, and then click post. So this actually became one of the most popular posts that I did on Twitter, and I didn't even intend it to be popular. So one of the learnings that I've come up with is that you really don't know what's going to hit and what's not going to hit. So people talk about creating viral videos and viral posts and viral. It's like you really can't intend to create something that's going to go viral. It's just not possible. So what viral tag lets you do is, in the moment when you find something that's really exciting, really cute, and you want it, it gives you the opportunity to grab that image, grab, maybe it's a GIF, and take that and then add it to your, post it to one of your social media channels. So I think this is a really great example of something that I thought was great, but I didn't know if other people were going to like it. Turns out it was really popular, and the artist even favored it herself, which was awesome. For people who are busy, there's another great feature called Clone Post. And for me, when I was first starting out on social media, if I had a great idea for Twitter, I wanted to use it on Facebook, I would actually have to go to Facebook, copy the text that I had on Twitter, add it to Facebook, upload the image, and all this is, a significant amount of work if you actually start to, keep track of your time and where your time goes every day. So Clone Post was really great. Recently, it was Uber Ice Cream Day. So Julie actually took this picture while we were outside, and I wanted to post this to several networks, but I didn't want to have to type it in again and again to all three of them. So what you can do is you just hit this clone button right here, and what happens is that it clones it for you, so that everything you wrote, everything you uploaded, stays the same, except at the top here where you see the circles. On the left one, I have my Twitter selected. On the right one, I have my Facebook selected. So without having to do anything, I was able to just duplicate this so I can post to both networks. And of course, if you hit it again, you can add it again. So you can do this, as many times as you need for all your networks, but it's a really quick way to be able to get your info out there to all your networks and also avoid the issues with, copying spelling and having errors like I was doing before when I was doing it all manually. So a big part of my strategy is being able to integrate visual content, images, anything that people can see and sort of, not have to read, basically. And as Julia was saying before, the majority of posts now these days, it's really about having an image or having something that people can see and share. So a great feature in Viral Tag, which really helps me because my time is limited and I don't have time to go look around for great images, is their feature where you can actually look for content directly from the platform. So, for example, here we have, I just did a quick search on entrepreneur, and these are the results that came up. One thing that stuck out on this page is this image here. A simple hello could lead to a million things, and this is really sort of capturing the essence of the app. Shoot, really, it's about you could meet someone and then if you never exchange information with them, you never know what could have happened. So this was just sort of a great testament to, what I really wanted to do with the app. So with this, with the platform with Viral Tag, I can just grab this, add my text here, and then add it to my queue or post it immediately. So having the ability to find content from within the Viral Tag system itself made things so easy. And if you're strapped for time or say it's a week where you didn't find anything super unique, you can always find something relevant from within the system, and it takes absolutely, not more than minutes or seconds. One of the other features, which is really great for me since, you know, I have other work to do and don't have full time to spend on this, is post scheduling. So I know there's a lot of social platforms that have various scheduling tools, but this one's really great because you can set up your posts like this. So for example, there's a lot of like special days. I feel like every day is a I think it was lipstick day yesterday. Someone told me, and I didn't even know about that. So what I'll typically do is I'll find all the days that I'd like to tweet about or post about, and I'll add them into the system here. So these are all in the future, and I'll add an image that I find uh, just quickly, just so I can see visually what it is. And then when it gets closer to that day, I might use the same image or I might go find another one. But it gives me a way to see what posts I already have set up. So I don't have to think about those, and I can think about, more unique and brand focused postings. So this is a way where it just lets me set up almost like an outline for what I'm going to do, and also gives me a way to use opportunities like these special days to talk about my brand that you don't even have to think about. Those days are already there, but you can always find some way to adapt it to your brand and leverage those, and give you more time to create more unique, I guess, brand focused opportunities. So all this is great, but what are the results? So I've been using a viral tag for less than a month. It's probably been about 3.5 weeks now. And in terms of results, I think to me they're amazing. This is purely in terms of number of followers. Facebook I've increased by 63%. Twitter almost the same, doubling, and Instagram, which I just actually started using because they have the integration with Instagram. It's gone up almost 20%. So in a very short period of time, I've been able to double the number of followers. I know that the number of followers isn't the key to how your fans are engaging with your brand, but at this stage in the development of my brand and my product, just developing a user base and getting myself out there on social media was really my goal. So to me, this is amazing, and it's really given me a lot of confidence to keep going. And I think that with Viral Tag, I feel like it gives me so much more time to work on cool ideas and focusing on my customers than managing social networks and doing a lot of busy work involved with having to get all the information ready all the time. So if we can do this again in a few months, I'd love to share more results. But for now, I think that, I'm really excited to share this with you guys, and I hope you guys will. This will inspire you to keep going or just get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tara. That was really, really useful. It's cool to hear how useful Viral Tag was. We're very excited about that. But it also really helpful tips. So she talked about setting an intention, figuring out who she wanted to target, and then choosing channels so she could get in touch with them. Being really creative about the sort of content she created, she curated, and then being consistent and just watching her followers grow. So really, really good tips. I've got 5 more tips and things for you to think about as you're building your brand on social media, and then we'll open it up for questions. And Tara's going to stick around, of course, for questions too. So first of all, establish your consistent style. So like Tara kind of figured out what was the voice and the tone of her brand, you want to take the time to figure that out for yourself too. And this is both um, the kind of this way in which you speak, like the message that you're trying to explain, but also your visual style. So the sort of visuals that you're sharing, even colors, tones, all of that. So thinking through that and then making it consistent is going to be really powerful for you. Choosing your channel. So like Tara said, she thought about, she's trying to reach business sort of people. So trying to decide where they are. You really, if you try and be everywhere and speak to everyone, you're going to end up speaking to no one. So you want to be really intentional about what makes sense for you. Like for example, Tumblr is really great to reach teens and 20 something. So if you're trying to reach people in that demographic, you might want to think about Tumblr. If you're an e-commerce company or speaking to kind of like 30s and 40 something women or men, Pinterest is really powerful. So spend some time researching each of the channels and think about which one is right for you, which few are right for you, and then be consistent and focus on those. Imitate and curate. It's kind of an open secret that everyone on social media is kind of copying everyone else. And this can be like creating original content that's similar to people that are doing well, or curating content, which is like just literally sharing other people's content. The most powerful way to do this is looking at the influencers in your space. So who are the people who are speaking to the people that you want to speak to, and look at what they're sharing, look at what is the most successful stuff that they're sharing, and then try and create things that are similar, and then also share their stuff. It's gonna get you more traffic, more followers, and again, there's some really great tools that you can use to dig into this. And we have a list of those in another blog post on our blog. We say in general, set a pattern for yourself as well with curation. So maybe it's like for every one piece of original content, you share 3 pieces of curated content. Or maybe by day, you decide how much you want to be sharing and how much, is really in your bandwidth to be creating every day compared to curating, and then just creating some consistency around that. 4, add value and start a conversation. So don't just be like throwing stuff out about your business or your app. You want to really like add value to the people who are following you. So teach them something new. Tell them something that they didn't know. And be a thought leader. Is there something that's happening in the news that's related to your industry, or some interesting day like Tara was talking about? Maybe it's a holiday. Um, Start a conversation around that and share your point of view. Be bold. Don't be afraid to be different and really start to tell people about who you are and how you think. And then engage other people with that conversation. So maybe try tweeting at some influential people with your idea or question, and spark some discussion. I think you'd be surprised what can come out of that. And then, make sure to listen in too. Like, part of having a conversation, right, is listening. So listen to the way the people are reacting or the way that they're talking about something, and then enter in a way that you can join that conversation instead of just speaking over it. And finally, use social media to build momentum. It's a really, really powerful thing that you can do. Like Tara, you're just maybe getting started with your app, or maybe you've got something coming in the future. Use social media to kind of give a little bit away at a time, get people excited. And share customer testimonials, share like your product or your app in real life, and give people examples of how it's being used in a way that it shows that it's growing in popularity, and you can kind of build that momentum and excitement. And most importantly with all these things is just consistency. So when you are setting up your social network, your profile on a social network, you are kind of making a promise to people that this is what they can expect if they follow you. So with all of these things, just make sure you're delivering on that promise, and that's really going to help you get the most exposure. It's going to help people be inspired to share what you're doing and tell people about you, and ultimately it's going to lead to new users and people being brought back to your business and your app. That's it from us. So with that, we'll open it up for questions. Feel free to just pop them in the question box, or tweet at us at the viral tag webinar hashtag.